Today we're going to talk about the title of this video, how art school killed my creativity. That's a little dramatic, but we'll get into it. And while I discuss that, I'm going to paint. Got a square canvas here, gave myself like a limited kind of color palette. We got some primaries, we got some random green stuff going on. So I have something to do while I yap. Let's start off with the disclaimers. This is not to shit on art school. This is not to say you shouldn't go to art school. This is just my personal experience surrounding art school. And maybe like if I knew these things going into it, I could have had the mindset of like fostering my creativity more and like not letting that die. This is not to say that I regret going to art school. I don't. I am very glad I went and I learned a lot. Yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. All my colors are on this paper plate, but I'm gonna mix them on another paper plate. I think I'm just gonna start with like some light washes of color in the background. The first mark is always intimidating. Oh. I want to start by giving you like some of my background. Also, sorry, I'm probably literally not gonna be facing you the whole time. I'm gonna be like, so in like elementary school and growing up, I was always just an artist kid. I loved it. It wasn't like a chore for me. It didn't feel like this strenuous thing I needed to practice every day. It was just something I loved, duh. Like that's how I feel like all artists start out. It used to be an escape, like a retreat from my everyday responsibilities. I would carry a sketchbook around like in all of my classes and just not pay attention and just, you know, work in my sketchbook, and that was so much fun. It was joyful to me. It just filled me up. It didn't feel like no one assigned me the sketchbook and told me I had to bring it everywhere. I just did it because I was an artist and that's what I wanted to do, and that's what brought me joy. So yeah, I was always doodling, and now that's like something I have to force myself to do, which is really sad. I was constantly doodling, constantly playing, and just making a lot of like low stakes art, if you will. Stuff that like, I don't know, I just was always playing and experimenting, and I didn't feel like everything I made had to be perfect. When I got into like my senior year of high school and they started thinking like, hey, what are you gonna do after this? Like, where are you going? Are you going to college? Like, what's up, girl? I just felt so much pressure to like pick something. And obviously you're like a kid. Like I'm sure, I mean, we all go through this pressure. I'm like, well, I like art. I should probably go to like art school or something, because the thought of going to like a traditional college kind of terrified me, because I've always been like decently academically gifted, I would say. School was pretty easy for me up until a certain point. I was like always a pretty good student, but I feel like I just exerted all of my energy, all of my life force in like elementary and high school, which I know is kind of silly because I'm not silly. It's just like in hindsight, those things don't matter nearly as much as you think they do. So yeah, I just used all of my energy in those earlier years. I was like, I don't know if I can handle college, to be honest. I don't know if I can, you know, do another 4 years of like rigorous study. I think I would crash the fuck out. And I think that was a very valid assessment of myself. I do think if I went to like a non-art school, I would have burnt out even worse. We got some blue going on. It's giving very gender reveal. It's not intentional. Ultimately, I don't know, I was just feeling the pressure. I was like, okay, let's make a decision. Let's go to art school. For a second, I almost went to a traditional like college, because I was really set for a second on getting like a full ride with my good ACT score, so I could get a full ride. And I did do that. I did get the ACT score I needed, but then I toured the place and I was like, it ain't for me. It ain't for me. The vibe ain't for me. So I ended up going into debt to go to art school. I went to Kansas City Art Institute. I'm not here to necessarily give my critique of that particular school. This creature won't stop crying while mommy's working, mommy's creating. It kind of is a critique on the school because that's my only experience. But to do, you know, take that what you will. I'm not gonna, you know, get into like the politics of the school, basically is what I'm saying. I went to Kansas City Art Institute and I ended up majoring in animation, which was kind of random. Kind of random because it's not at all really what I initially thought I would go into. I really didn't think animation, but then I took like an animation workshop. This is not the point of the video, I'm sorry. A main reason I feel like art school really burnt me out creatively is because in art school, every process, every step of the creative process is documented and critiqued, which is brilliant. It's wonderful, you know, to build your artistic skill, like your technical skills. It's not wonderful for fostering it's not wonderful for, you know, fostering a really, you know, juicy creative brain, in my opinion, in my experience. Every like rough sketch, every draft is critiqued, and you know, you're an artist, you know there's a lot of fucking ugly stages a painting, a piece of art goes through to get to the final stage. I wouldn't say this is an ugly phase. This is actually still kind of cute right now. Am I gonna ruin it with this color? I don't know. It is really beneficial to have like a group of artists to look at your drafts and critique them. Like there is so much value in that. I don't want to discount that. I did grow a lot as like a technical artist. I learned a lot of new technical skills. The dogs started going crazy upstairs, so I had to let them run their course. I added a little green touches. I'm gonna start going in with a smaller brush, get some more details going. So yeah, main point, like I was saying, those really detailed, in-depth critiques, like every step of the process, really good for improving your technical skills. Maybe not the best for like your inner child who just wants to play. Basically, upon graduating, I struggled to create at all. I was like, how do I make something without an assignment? How do I know I'm doing a good job if I'm not getting critiqued by 30 of my peers, you know, in my rough draft process? Why should I even keep going? Yeah, I definitely got used to creating under like homework briefs. Basically, I was like, what do I do now that I have the entire, like, I have all the freedom in the world to create anything I want, and I have better skills to create, but I have nothing to work with. I have no creative energy, just no energy in general. It's hard for me to create without deadlines now too, like deadlines where I fear for my life, basically. It's hard for me to like self-impose deadlines. And even though I was technically learning how to do that in art school, they like would have us create our own deadlines a lot. But still, that's like someone assigning you to give yourself a deadline. It's very different when you're just completely doing it on your own. Like, I'm a free woman. I don't have to show up at Critique tomorrow at 8 a.m. with 17 sketches and a PowerPoint slide detailing my creative idea and like present it to people. I don't have to do that anymore. And so it's kind of like, I think it was just hard for me for so long to do anything. For context, I graduated in 2022. I'm coming up on 3 years since I graduated. And I don't know, if you look on like my YouTube channel, you can kind of see I posted like my assignments, and then it was like, I was also like working to support myself while going to school. So just experiencing a lot of physical, like mental burnout in general, like aside from the creative burnout. I basically had a breakthrough very recently where I was like, you have to get back into it, girl, because otherwise if you don't start, like, you're just gonna lose it. It is really discouraging too, like picking up the pencil again after years of not like properly exercising that and being like, damn, I have to like practice again, I have to get back into it. But I was just thinking back to like my childhood self, like she used to make low stakes art like all the time. I mean, anything can be low stakes art if you want it to be. But for me, like in my brain, that's kind of why I'm doing this on a canvas right now, because in my brain, this is like so intimidating. It's a big canvas. I haven't painted properly in a minute. And like, I don't know, it's just a lot of, it feels like a lot of pressure, but it doesn't have to be. But I used to just experiment and make stuff for fun and like not for an assignment. And I need to get back into that. That's why I've been embarking on the artist's way. I just started week 10. And that's, obviously it's brought me here, so I feel like we're making progress. Had to pause for a bit because it got a little loud upstairs. Here's where we're at. I could honestly spend a really long time on it, or I could like stop now. It's like, isn't that every painting? A painting is, well, who said that? It's like a painting is never finished, it's simply abandoned. I don't know how long I want to spend on her before I abandon her. I can see in the way I paint, I'm still like very scared to make art in a way because it's so light. Like you could still see so much white in the canvas. I didn't do like thick layers. That's something to work on for next time. I'll probably finish it up and add some more details and show you the finished product. That's how art school destroyed my creativity. Basically being critiqued on everything, every step of the process, and lots of homework assignments and deadlines. That's where we're at. Again, I don't want to discourage you from going to art school. If that's your dream, go to art school. Just keep that in the back of your mind to like work on your personal creativity outside of your assignments and stuff like that. That's something I definitely just neglected while I was in school. But look, I painted on a canvas today, you guys. This was like something that felt so like high stakes to me, and it doesn't have to be like this is a sale canvas. I'm using old crappy paint. Like, just have fun. If you went to art school and you had similar experience or different experience, let me know. I'm really bad at goodbyes. Okay, bye.